Libra has had an interesting history over the years. Starting out as the ability Scan, the spell/technique has been the go-to for many a player who likes to see their enemy's HP as a concrete number. While modern games have made the ability, and its original name Scan, into two separate entities, Libra has always done relatively the same thing. Give you a sneak peek at enemy stats and weakness. Wait a minute, something about this doesn't seem right. Hang on, that's not right. Oh, there's my problem. Well, all that we gotta do here is just, and okay, there we go. When you look at Awakening's roster, Libra tends to stand out among the more quirky cast of characters. Like, look, you have the wacky swordman who is full of goofy, dramatic flair. You have the mischievous little sister who loves to play pranks on her poor innocent brother. You have the man who was abused and abandoned as a child coming to grips with the psychological damage such an upbringing has left on his ability to love and trust other people. Look at the funny himbo!
Sorry.
With how seriously his character is played, it often feels like he belongs in a different cast of characters altogether. However, you wouldn't be blamed for forgetting Libra due to his very lackluster introduction. He kinda just shows up out of nowhere on Chapter 9, Emerin. There's no build-up to him, he just kinda meanders over on the south side of the map and turn into the chapter. Emerin itself is a very well-remembered chapter because of... well, I don't know, Emerin probably, so Libra's introduction often goes forgotten. The only thing it does for him is establish his quirky gimmick. I know, cheap joke, but I love hair metals, so let me have this. But yeah, all you get from his character here is that he's a priest, and actually that's all you get. It also doesn't help that Libra's a pretty lackluster unit too. He's a Gen 1 unit, which is immediately a bad sign thanks to how much more busted the time travel babies are in general. His stats are also way too balanced for his own good. Libra doesn't really have a bad stat, but none of his stats are particularly amazing sans his HP growth. So Libra becomes a unit where he could do some physical damage, but not that much. He could do some magic damage, but not really that much. He could do some yeah, you get the picture. He's not bad by any means, but his lack of truly being great at any one thing holds him back from being that memorable. But of course, this is Fire Emblem. Our characters have much more to them than just their opening lines. Shit. But of course, this is modern Fire Emblem. Our characters have much more to them than just their opening lines. So it's time to delve into Libra supports so we can catch a glimpse of who this man really is. He has supports with all the ladies of the Gen 1 cast, like usual, alongside Gaius and Virion. We'll start off with his supports with Tharja and Naui, as those are the ones that delve into his backstory. You know, now that I'm thinking on it, it's kinda weird that Tharja has 3 supports about helping traumatized men come to terms with their tragic anime backstories. The Tharja support starts with her looking for a guinea pig for her new hex she wants to try, a spell that can replace someone's memories. Libra comes up and offers to be her test subject free of charge. At first, Tharja thinks the priest is just being nice and helping someone for no real reason, but Libra assures her that his motive is purely a selfish one. There are specific memories he wants replaced. It's a memory painful enough that when Tharja says that this curse might give permanent damage to his body and soul should things go wrong, Libra doesn't shy away. He simply prepares himself for whatever consequences might come from his decision. When it's time for the hex to commence, Tharja asks Libra what memory he wants to have, and all he wants is a memory of being loved by doting and caring parents. And once Tharja sees what memories he's trying to remove in place of that, she understands why he wanted to be used as her test dummy. Libra was abandoned as a child, scorned by his parents for being controlled by demons. It's never really explained why they thought that. It's just kind of a, over-religious parents are fucking crazy, and that's all the info we get. It's enough for a minor character like Libra. Regardless, the hex fails, and the pain of Libra's past remains with him. Though he does remark that through talking about and sharing his pain with Tharja, he did feel a little better about it all. His support with Naui doesn't really cover anything new, but rather expands upon his abandonment. Naui tries to get a piggyback ride, but Libra shuns her away due to a scar on his neck that she accidentally tried to grab onto. He says it was from the day that he was abandoned, as he was howling back to his parents, clinging to them, desperate not to be left behind. His mother had to strike him to force him off, leaving a permanent scar on his neck. It's another sad memory for Libra that really makes you feel sorry for him. Even something as innocent as a child wanting a piggyback ride just leads to more pain and suffering. As the supports continue, Naui tries to find the source of his heartache and make it feel better by tickling it. It's that sort of child logic that makes absolutely no sense but kinda does at the same time. Unfortunately, Naui doesn't know where the heart is, and she just tickles him all over, and comes to find out he's really ticklish. But even this isn't allowed to be a fun, cute moment, as his ticklish nature is due to his nervous reaction to any human contact. He had been avoiding it all his life, and now any touch manages to disturb him. He says that, due to his upbringing, he had always been unable to trust people, and has come to fear them instead. It's a sad way to work in an otherwise really cute scene. It's the kind of minor detail I love to eat up. His S support with Naui isn't real because you can't convince me anyone SS supports with Naui. There is no proof. There is no proof. But there is proof of the support of my lovely fans. The Patreon page. For as low as $3 a month, you can have your name appear in a video and get early access to all this channel's content. And for $5 a month, I'll even say your name aloud, like Gispy Striker. Follow Pen to the North Star on Twitch, Ryan Walter, Steph D, Kieran Morin, Saint Nember, Green Brigand, Brentendo11, Great Riek, Rurio Carroll, and Drew Hack. And for $7 a month, you get access to exclusive polls to decide what content is coming up next on the channel. The next poll is between Game Boy Advance villain groups, so if you love baddies, come on down and make your voice heard. So with his emotionally scarring backstory established, let's look to another one of his supports for his, emotionally scarring front story. His support with Gaius, at first, seems to be a completely comedic one, as Libra is trying to teach Gaius how to pray to the gods, only for Gaius to misunderstand and just treat praying like asking the gods for a shopping list. It's a humorous exchange, with Libra getting the most frustrated he probably ever gets in the entire game, though it is hard to blame him. I mean, I'm not even religious, but when Gaius says, "I will deliver my firstborn son unto thee for donuts," I feel like I have to apologize directly to Jesus Christ himself. Yeah, JC, look, I know Gaius has said some, questionable things, but do you think you can spare him from eternal damnation? Alright, I'll let him know. Yeah, so Gaius, I think now might be a good time to tell you that Jewish people don't believe in hell. But the end of the support takes a surprisingly serious edge to the conversation. Gaius eventually starts to get the gist of the whole prayer thing, making a simple prayer for his safety after having a near brush with death in a battle prior. Gaius expresses doubt that the gods will hear him though, as he thinks they won't hear a sinner like him over a certified good boy like Libra. Libra shoots down the notion that he is above sin though. As he puts it, he sins every day when he prays to survive a battle, as in doing so he is praying for the death of his enemies. Gaius thinks that he must be a terrible person for praying for such a thing, to which Libra responds, quote, "Not terrible, just human." Gaius replies by saying one of the most astute observations a Fire Emblem character has ever said, saying, quote, "This religion stuff is complicated." Speaking of prayer and sermons, his support with Muriel has the mage approach Libra with a proposition. She wants to help him broadcast his sermons to a wider audience, and she convinces him to try and have a public sermon drawing a large crowd. Libra is hesitant to try this, but Muriel's stubborn insistence convinces him to give it a gander. But Muriel is surprised when, though Libra spoke to more people than he ever did before, the amount of people that would come back to hear him again after the first time had diminished greatly. Libra remarks that he figured this would happen, and he goes on to explain what his sermons mean to him. He believes that, while his words reached more ears than ever, that's where it stopped. Because he had to give more vague words that could apply to a group rather than an individual, his speeches were left unable to truly reach someone's heart. As such, he believes such priestly advice is best given in a one-on-one, case-to-case basis. It's a very old-fashioned style of sermons that even he admits is rigid, but he doesn't feel as though the large sermons were a complete waste of time. He met more people than ever, and even though those connections were skin deep, the fact that they were started was enough for him to feel as though Muriel's effort wasn't wasted. A feeling that gives us a good look into how Libra views how his faith should be spreaded to the masses. Masses. Get it? He's a priest, and he's spreading his word to the masses, and like a religious gathering is a mass... Oh, never mind. And Libra's other supports are more about others than about himself. He helps Sully and Lissa overcome some self-image issues, he helps Olivia learn a new religious dance, he gives Cordelia advice on taking her task with some moderation, etc, etc. But that's just fine. Not every one of his supports have to be about him. Libra is a priest. A lot of his time is spent guiding others on their own paths in life. So while his supports might not always be interesting because of him, he does help other characters go on their own journeys, which is an aspect of Libra that's worth recognizing and appreciating in and of itself. But there is one more thing about him I want to mention. I made a joke earlier about his very feminine design, and I gotta be honest, that gimmick wasn't as important as I remembered it. It comes up in like 3 supports, but for the most part, it's a complete non-factor. It kinda reminds me of Lucius. People love to make jokes about his appearance, but sans like 1 support, it's hardly ever mentioned at all. I don't know, as a man who personally has been mistaken for a woman due to having the sin of having long hair, I guess I sort of feel a kinship with these men. Rock the long hair, Libra. It's a good look to have. And that about wraps it up. Libra isn't the hilarious hee ha ha kind of character Awakening is known for, but to me, that's his strength. He's a very different character. Hell, outside of the Gaia support, I don't think there's a single joke told in any of his supports. But to me, that kind of more serious character is one that I eat up. Good backstory, solid characterization, offers interesting views and perspective on things like religion. He's all in all a very good character to read. If you haven't, check out his supports. You might find that there's more to this man than just a pretty face. And that completes yet another Fire Emblem character analysis video. It's been a blast, as always, to make the content you all love. Special thanks to my friend the Green Brigand for helping with the script, as he always does and will do in the future. He has no choice. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like on the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the Patreon, and nickname your Dracovish after me. No, not any Pokemon, specifically Dracovish. Until next time.